everybody. Just love to have a show of hands. Who's a teacher here? Oh my goodness. We share a passionate commitment to make a difference in someone else's life. I think that the work you do is the most important work in the world.
To see the kids spark, to say, I got it now. It's the most gratifying feeling ever.
My pet peeve is when my kids say that they hate reading, because it's not that they hate reading, it's that they hate what they're reading. So my argument is, well, it's not that you don't like to read, you just haven't found something that interests you enough.
When I got into the classroom, I realized why it's so hard to teach math, because the kids don't like it, they're not into it at all. And the challenge is just making it relevant to them.
Model for students excited, engaged learning if we don't feel it ourselves. And so we really want to encourage you to listen to your gut. Where do you feel the connection? Where do you feel the opportunity to bring some of your passion into play?
One of the things that we learned in the Silkroad project over the last number of years is that the more deeply you go into something, the more you find all the connections. Cello, Venice, 1733. Do you know where ebony comes from? Africa. The yellow part comes from curry powder in India. The varnish comes from acacia trees in the Middle East. And the red comes from a plant called dragon's blood found in Indonesia and Sri Lanka.
There's rubber bands, clothespins, different shapes of marbles, cut up plastic bag, screws, so the kids could bring from home a barrette, bottle caps, coins, anything that they could find that they can wrap, tie, and they can have some ownership in this project.
Each continent have their own indigo plants, and they're all completely different plant genera. This is Indigofera here. That's the tropical one.
And what we're going to do with these is actually put them in the fabric and use a rubber band to secure them. That will create the resist inside the fabric, and when you open it up, you'll have all of these different shapes.
And imagine this, you extract the indigo from these leaves, a wonderful process, incredible technology that's spread across the world. You can trade this lump, you can scratch it, drop it, break it, it will last and last and last.
Resist is a way of not allowing the dye to reach the fiber or the fabric or the yarn.
So the first thing the kids are going to do is wrap this around each other's heads and then try to dye each other. Nice. I feel a resist coming on.
I could have taken you into ancient Egypt and the mummies, where indigo is the oldest dye. Or we could have started in India. Why is Krishna blue? Because indigo is the color of Krishna.
You need to push everything all the way down to the bottom.
Oh, all the way to the bottom?
All the way to the bottom.
I definitely feel like a sixth grader because I know.
And it was interesting because it really showed me what it was like to be a student in that setting, and how my students must feel when I rush them or maybe give directions halfway through, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying my best. I want it to be, and it also helped me realize how much I took ownership over mine, and even though I only worked on it for 20 seconds, I wanted it to be beautiful and wanted to take pride in it, and just made me think more about student work.
You can't do anything wrong, and I think you need to tell the kids that. You don't have to get nervous, you don't have to be afraid, just do it and have fun.
This is the one that makes the most sense.
5th century BC. This beautiful carpet was being traded. Which color stands out most? The blue, indigo blue, never ever changes its color. That's a pure lesson in chemistry and also physics. What is he wearing? And he's 2,500 years old, and he's wearing really the equivalent of blue jeans.
The social studies teacher is going to get this guide, which gives a lot of support for Unit 1. Think about, for kids, how important it is to consider the jeans that they wear every single day, and putting it into a historical, social, artistic, economic, and political context is huge.
One of the key things I think that will be important for DOE to do is to talk to our 5 or 6 schools to let them know that this is a really significant pilot that you're pushing and you fully support it and you want them to implement it.
I'm really happy just looking through the first unit, seeing that it's so compatible with what the DOE expects and those standards, but that you can use this as a common thread, and we're getting excited about ways to just, weave it across content areas.
I think what's exciting about this is think about thematic learning again, something that's been lost, connecting science to social studies in early humans and the fossil record and the genome and the plant chemistry with the art and the music. And if the DOE could push more for this and get away from this compartment of this is math and this is social studies and this is science and nobody talks to each other, it's great.
I actually see a lot of applications of science within the Indigo curriculum. For instance, if you're teaching photosynthesis, one plant you could study is looking at the indigo plant. I mean, you can look at fermentation techniques, pH. I really think there's a lot of science application. It's just a matter of when you get to those points in the curriculum, identifying those connections.
What you're looking at is the flower or the bloom on top of the indigo vat.
Wow.
If you don't see this, we could not die today.
That one too. Everything has to be slow and gentle. Otherwise, you add oxygen, and within 10 minutes, the divats, you've got to stop all the oxygen.
So when we're doing this, we have to remember we have to plan every little step, allow time.
But we definitely need to be talking about what we're doing so we know how to organize the lessons so that they work well together.
That's why I'm trying to figure out what I can take out to fit in, like DNA and pH and fermentation.
Try and keep it under. If you're not careful with it, oxygen goes in. It's all chemistry.
I don't know how it's going to all tie up. If you're doing this, then at the right time. At the right time. I could see the applications for science, but the time coordination.
Okay, I think it's time for you guys to take yours out. Look at it, watch it, because you're going to see it change color right in front of your eyes, okay? Lovely! See, it's still oxidizing a little bit.
This will turn blue when the oxygen gets inside.
It's interesting how it's almost iridescent.
One of the big challenges I see with this whole Silkroad Indigo project is getting them to understand the scope of the globe. And they don't grasp the concepts of distance that we're talking about, and especially eons of time.
I like it. I think it's really cool. It's my official handkerchief.
Another thought that we had was having students choose different artifacts that were traded along the Silk Road and kind of become experts in that artifact and do a project about how that artifact was traded and how it's used today, and even go home and try and find representations of those artifacts in their everyday life.
Look at you, Mr. Math teacher.
Nice.
It's very nice. Good job on that.
I'm not sure how well a 6th grade boy is going to buy into Indigo. And unless there's a little more sort of flash to it, maybe you talk about, how drug smuggling was a big thing, and prohibition was a big thing in another part of history. At this part of history, Indigo was the cheddar.
Yesterday, you might have looked at these textiles and thought, God, we couldn't do those. Look how complicated they are. And what people produced, you kind of see that in the shop and say how amazing. And actually that's done, in what? Maybe 2 minutes with folding, paper clips and pegs.
We hope that you'll bring your students to the museum to experience original works of art, in particular ones that connect with Indigo and with the Silk Road.
We have just the perfect exhibit opening this fall on November 14th, which is our special exhibit on the Silk Road. And because we're a natural history museum, it gives us the perfect mix of culture and science.
The students will have a better idea of who they are in the global community, a better sense of themselves in their own community. Also, it's a cultural experience, and also the multidisciplinary approach. Since all of you are from all different disciplines, we hope that we can incorporate all of you in this.
There are times in life when everything is right. From the Silk Road Project, these people, our teachers and our kids, and think of how many strands that will get knit together. And I'm so proud that we will be their partners.
It's really exciting because I feel like
you've kind of put together this model of what we're going to be doing this year, and I'm starting to really understand that we're the ones that are, drafting the lesson plans and sharing them with each other, and that's really great.
This is obviously a deep collaboration, and with your help, my dream is that the 6th grader would say at the end, says, "This is the best year that I've ever had."